Alright, so it's been a while since I've posted on my YouTube channel, and it's been a while since I've made a Gorilla Tag fan game tutorial. The last one I made was on how to add a player model, and that was a while ago. I think it was way over a year ago, but there's new ways to do like a Gorilla Tag fan game, or just like make it like there's updated versions. I'm not gonna make one because you could still technically follow the tutorial I did. It's just not like you just have to update everything yourself. But you've seen the title of the video. This is a monster. Like, this is how to add a monster to your game. Maybe you're making a horror game like Big Scary or Scary Baboon, or you're just adding a horror to your game itself. So let's just get straight into it. Alright, so the first thing you're gonna want to do, and you have to do, I will not be putting this script in a like a Google Drive or something, or like a media file, only because I did make this script. But you're gonna have to join my Discord, verify, and then after verifying, you're gonna want to go to role info, or you like in announcements you might see like there's something new here, depending on when you're watching this. But you want to go to your role info, and then it says get a role at the bottom, and you want to react to the green square, and just so you know, it says it right here. But react to the green square, and then you should get access to this section button. Then you get access to the scripts, and you want to click on Monster AI. These are the two scripts you want to download: Jump Scary, and then you want to download Monster AI. These scripts were made by me, so if you use them, please give credit. But once you have Monster AI and Jump Scary script, you're gonna want to go into your game and make a scripts folder or something. I already have it, so I'm not gonna do anything. But I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna I made a misc folder, and then you're just gonna want to drag in Jump Scary and Monster AI. Once you drag them in, so what you're gonna want to do is, I recommend making a different like little section for all your monsters. Only, let me just hide that because it's annoying. I recommend making a little section for your monsters, only because now you can, if you need to hide your monsters for something, now you can hide them all once. Or if you just want to like be able to like ease of access to your monsters, they're all right there. So you're gonna want to make a new one. I'm just gonna 3D object. I recommend doing a capsule if you're doing like a test. I'm gonna do a capsule, and it's just gonna look like this or something. It's pretty basic. I'm gonna turn this on. Don't mind all of this. This is because of like all my like pathfinding and stuff. So you're just gonna want to like, you can put it as high or as low. I recommend putting it at like right at the ground, just because it's making it like way easier. And you're just gonna want to drag it onto your monsters and name it whatever. I'm just gonna name this video monster. Usually I name mine like this, but this is gonna be a rush one since it's only for a video. Alright, so actually let me look at this one. This one does in fact have a collider. Okay, cool. Just making sure. So keep the capsule collider, but what you're gonna want to do is make sure you have a layer called Chase Me, and a layer called like not walkable, non-walkable, or like no locomotion. Just so like your player phases through it, because if not, that will cause some teleporting issues with the jump scary script, or the jump scare script. Once you do that, don't mind the capsule right now. That's not important. You're gonna want to drag, or no, you're gonna want to add a component, and you're gonna want to call it, or you're gonna want to add in, where is it? You're gonna want to add a nav mesh agent. Sorry, that took a bit. And then you can make a new one, or you can just use the humanoid one. I'm gonna make a new one, or actually no, I'm gonna use the humanoid just because video, and I don't want to change anything. Area mask, I would recommend making a new little section or layer also called monster roam, and then instead set it to nothing, and then do monster roam enabled. So then now only like stuff like monster roam, then it can move around. When like something like this, it's locomotion, so it can't move on top of it or whatever. Alright, so once you have that, customize it however you want. But after you do that, you're gonna add the monster AI script and the jump scary script. Or actually, no. Add a new 3D object and then a capsule, and just name this jump scary. Or whatever you want to name it. I'm just gonna name it jump scary. And then also make it no locomotion. And then turn off the mesh renderer. And then just make it a tiny bit bigger. I'm gonna make it like this big, so yeah. And then add the jump scary script. Now make sure this is also a trigger. And then there's gonna be a lot. So let's focus on the jump scare script first, because I feel like this is a bit more confusing. You're just gonna want to make a like wherever you want, you can just like create, you want to do a create empty, name it whatever. I already have one, so I'm gonna use my like thing. But on the jump scare script, you're gonna want to add like your create empty to where you want the player to teleport, and drag it to teleport location. Safe radius, I recommend keeping this as normal. And then the scare sound and audio source. So in your monster, just add an audio source. And then the settings is you want to make it a loop, and then you also just want to like linear roll off and 3D or something. But you don't have to do that right now, as unless you have a jump scare sound. I don't, so I'm not going to touch that. Now you want to go to scare object, and in the scare object, it's just going to be like your jump scare thing. So like in my player, I have in like the head collider or like player view, and then I made another thing called scary stuff, and then there's audios. This is where you want to add the audio for the jump scare. I messed that up just 2 seconds ago, but that doesn't matter unless you have a jump scare sound or you want to add one. But I added a second section called jump scares, and then test. That's just for me testing my AI still. You just want to add one, and then you can animate it if you want. I'm not going to, and I'm just going to use this one since it's already there. But make sure it's disabled right here. And make sure it's no locomotion and it has no collider. Just click on this one, not the mesh renderer, the box next to the name. And then on the jump scare section or collider, in the jump scare script, you want to drag in that object into the jump scare object. Now, depending on how long the animation is, that's going to be the jump scare duration. And now you're done. The jump scare script is finished. Just an extra reminder, make sure this is set to is trigger. Make sure this is enabled. If not, it will not work. Alright, now you're done with the jump scare stuff. Now in the monster, as you can see, if you turn on like this little stuff, there's going to be a lot. Hold on, let me change. Alright. There is going to be a lot, as you're going to see. There's 2 different giant circles. And, well, there's a lot of settings. So, let's go with the detection settings first. The layer to chase, you want to add a little section. You can either add this to your networked player or your normal player. Right now, I'm testing it, so it's in my normal player. But you're just going to want to go over to like your body collider and then add a capsule and scale it down to a lot. Name it Chase Me, and disable the mesh renderer. And then make sure it's also not a trigger. And just scale it down, and then Chase Me layer, also make sure the player can't walk through it. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Project settings. In project settings, you're going to want to go to physics. Or no, okay, I'm using Unity 6. If you're using Unity 6, under physics, you have to go to settings, and then this might be like this. Just click on this. And then once that, you want to look no locomotion. You want this disabled on both. Chase Me, you want it disabled on no locomotion and Chase Me. And then if you really want to, you could just disable it on all this stuff too. And then there. And then now it can't collide. Alright, so On the monster layer to chase, you want to set that to chase me, and now anything in its range, the player will be chased. The speed, oh no, this is not the speed. So this is basically if you're within the red sphere or circle, this is the range where it'll start moving towards the player, but it'll walk, I'll say walk to them and not move super fast. Now you can set this to whatever you want. You can set it to like the entire map so players can't hide from the monsters and they have to keep moving. You could set it to right next to the monster. You could set it to like this. In the run chase, I'm just going to keep it at default. The run chase range is where once in the pink circle, now the monster will move way faster to chase the player. So they actually have to run. Again, I don't recommend making it way bigger, because I'm pretty sure once, if this is bigger, once now you're in the red, now it just slows down. So I recommend making it smaller than the walk thing. Again, I'm going to leave it at default. Now we're going to get to the movement settings. Monster run speed, basically once you're in the pink circle, how fast it'll chase the player or move towards the player. The walk chase speed, once in the red circle, how fast will it move. I recommend keeping the walk chase speed as the same as the roam chase speed, which roam is just when you're not in any of the monster's detection sections, and it'll just slowly move. Now roaming type, I don't see anyone use. This is why I decided to add this. Two options. Waypoints, which is where if you want to do waypoints, this just makes it so the monster doesn't randomly move throughout the map. So say I create an empty, I name this yada yada, and I move this. Actually, let me use a cube just so I can actually see it. I'm gonna make a cube, name it whatever, scale it down a bit. That should be good. And I'm gonna move it down to the floor. Now this makes it, if you're using this makes it basically so you could set it so it goes to the door every once in a while randomly. This is just set points the monster has to go to, and it will never traverse off of those paths. I don't recommend it if you just want to make it seem like the monster has a mind of its own. I don't use it, but personally some people want it for certain stuff, so that's why I added that option. But like, you would just move this around and then clone it, and then move that there, and then clone it, and that there, and then that there, and that there. And then in the monster, make sure it has to be set to the mode you want, waypoints, and then in the waypoints just add the amount, so there's 4, and then you just drag these in, and then the monster would move towards it. I'm not going to use that though, because it's pretty lame. The setting I use is nav mesh random. This basically makes it so anywhere within this pink section, not this side because it's on that side already and it can't go through stuff that's not like the little pink section I have set. Anywhere in this pink section or barrier, the monster will roam randomly. So say it's in the corner, it might go there, then there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and there. It's completely random. It's way better, I feel like, because now the player, it's unpredictable. And the rotation speed is just so if the player wants to juke the monster and it turns, it depends on how fast it turns. I recommend just keeping that default. I usually set it to like 15 just because, but yeah. And then that's all the settings. Now you're also gonna want to add, see how I have this thing called monster AI. You're gonna want to add under AI a nav mesh surface. Name this whatever you want. I'm gonna keep it named nav mesh surface. And then this is like a bunch of little settings. Now nav mesh data, it'll automatically create one for you. Don't worry about that. Once you click bake, there's one created for you. So I'm gonna just delete this just not to mess up my game. But once you have that, you also want to go into window and then look for AI and then navigation. And then that's what this is right here. So there's agents and areas. I recommend make a new area called Monster Roam, just like the layer. And then Now, these are like the monsters. You can have a crap ton of monsters in your game. So I'm using humanoid right now. This is the height and stuff. I don't recommend touching that, really, unless you want like a short monster or a giant monster. It doesn't really matter. It just like it just kind of changes on like where the monster can move. Now once you're done in your monster AI, you just want to bake it. And then once it's baked, then it's done. Also in the nav mesh surface, um it might say like this stuff. I don't think it fully matters. If you want, you can just like test around, but in the default area, set this to monster roam too. And then now you're done. So I'm gonna delete this just because I don't need it, but I'll show you my monster set. I'm gonna start my game. Alright, my game started. And as you can see, if I click on the monster, it's unpredictable. So I set no points. It'll go there, and then look at now it's going to one of the edges near the player. And okay, so one problem with this is it's gonna try to walk towards the player because it's within the red range. I recommend trying to figure out like a spot where like the player can sit here or something. I'm not really figuring that out right now. But as you can see, it's trying to chase the player, so let me just like move the player to like the corner. And now it leaves, and then it's unpredictable. It just goes anywhere. And then now I grab the player. I don't remember if I set up the script, the jump scare for this one. But look at it's going for the player. So right now the player is within range, so it's gonna look at follow him. Now it's gonna chase him and then jump scare. So I didn't fully like fix slash set up the script, so it's kind of broken. If anything, it might be the collisions. Make sure these two. I think you should just keep the chase me to that, because when it's a trigger, then it can't collide with anything. But I do hope you like this tutorial. That is how to set up a monster in your game, and it's pretty easy. Yeah. If you want, you can sub. I am gonna be posting more videos like this for a bit, instead of like just actual Gorilla Tag videos. I will be posting more stuff like this. So yeah. Also, if you want, in the Discord, maybe like in main chat, give me some script ideas for me to make. And then I'll also be making a tutorial on hand sounds or hit sounds or whatever. I call them hand sounds. I'll be making a tutorial on that. I did make the script. Alright. Hope you enjoyed. I hope this helped. Drop a sub if you want. Maybe like, maybe give me some ideas. I'm gonna go edit for like an hour now. Hope you have a great day or night, whichever this one is for you. Goodbye.